In this year of 2023, Kilfinnan Cushlee Historical Society commemorates the 225th anniversary of Patrick Staker Wallace, District Commander of the United Irishmen, who was executed during the regime of Charles Silver Oliver in the square of Kilfinnan on July the 5th, 1798. The name of Staker Wallace dwarfs all others connected with the 1798 rising in this locality. His memory endures in the folklore of the Cushlee region. 2 monuments have been erected to him. The hurling team of his native district was named in his honour, and the lament composed to perpetuate his valour and faithfulness is now enshrined in the traditional repertoire. It is hoped this production will serve as an enlightening recreation of the last fateful chapter of the Staker Wallace story. It was in the month of May that the 1798 rebellion broke out. Although the country had been in a state of ferment for several years prior, 2 months in advance of the general uprising, the drama leading to the arrest and subsequent execution of Patrick Staker Wallace had unfolded in the townlands of Tiermore, Martinstown and Killeen. We are told that in the early hours of a March morning, a party of yeoman cavalry, under the command of Captain Oliver himself, approached the house of Staker. He dashed from the residence in the direction of the Red Bog, which at that time supplied fuel for the people of the district, but has since been largely cut away and drained. Staker seems to have taken this course in the hope that the soft and dangerous terrain would prove a difficult obstacle for his pursuers to negotiate. At this point, 2 names, which would from then onwards be inextricably linked with that of the Staker, entered the story. Fate decreed that very different places in the folk memory would be reserved for the 2 men concerned, Michael Walsh and Roger Sheedy. Both yeomen were familiar with the Red Bog. It is said that Michael Walsh was compelled to serve in Oliver's cavalry, owing to the fact that his horse, a valuable mare, was one of the finest animals in the district, and Walsh himself one of the most skilled horsemen. Finding himself rapidly gaining on Staker, Walsh took the desperate decision to jump his splendid mare into a bog hole. He himself narrowly escaped the same fate. A contemporary lament commemorates the chivalry of Michael Walsh. O son of Walsh, the hero who went drowning in the bog. Staker Wallace continued his laborious trek, Roger Sheedy maintaining his pursuit. Staker's objective was most likely the Slieve mountain, 3 miles distant and requiring him to pass through successively the townlands of Martinstown, Kilmurray, Bostonstown, Moorestown and Killeen. But the end was approaching. Among the wooded foothills of the mountain, Roger Sheedy sighted his prey. A herdsman named Michael Casey was nearby, Sheedy commanding him to assist in the capture of Staker Wallace. The decision by Casey to acquiesce, voluntary or otherwise, would have fatal consequences. Michael Casey was beaten to death 2 years later. Roger Sheedy ordered Staker Wallace to halt, whereupon he and Casey proceeded to secure their captive. Interestingly, the historical accounts agree that Captain Charles Silver Oliver himself soon arrived at Staker's temporary place of detention, which was the house of a man named Hayes at Kilmurray Bridge. One can only imagine the dialogue that ensued between landlord and prisoner, between victor and vanquished.
Have you heard of Staker Wallace, the defender who was hung beyond in Kilfinnan town, the South Limerick Hills among? They chased him through the countryside, old Oliver's human hounds, before they ran the poor old man into the captain's wicked ground. They kicked and beat poor Staker before placing him in jail, because this poor old man and his comrades would not reveal. They said he wanted dead, old Oliver the local Sassenach, the man who took the land on which the people grazed their stock. Others of them said he swore on oath Ireland to liberate, and because of that oath, they'd hang him at the castle gate. They flogged poor Staker 600 times and 10. They taunted him and shouted down all the united men. Cowardly yeomen of Kilfinnan were foremost in the fray. and on their bloodied hands Staker's blood now lay. His head is now upon a spike, in clay his body lies. The curse of Ireland upon Captain Oliver, until he quickly dies. Now Irish men united stay, unlike Oliver's human hounds. Your breed and seed will prosper when they are underground. The Frenchmen soon will come maroon when the corn it is ripe, and we'll pay back blow for blow with French guns and our pikes. Poor Staker's head on the butter market looks down, where some day yet, don't forget, will fly the harp with no crown. It is our flag, I proudly brag, though now in shreds, like the hair that blows off poor old Staker's head. Now, united men will rise again to fight another day and rid the land of the Sassenach band who now hold sway. Remember then such noble men as Limerick's brave Staker, who in heaven pray for our liberty unto his Maker.
Have you now, Staker?
God bless you, you traitors.
Give me names!
Never. I'll never betray my friends.
Tie him up, Cassie! trouble out of Wallis, Captain Oliver.
You get no word out of me.
Take him to Kilfinnan jail and we'll see to that.
Staker Wallace was brought to Kilfinnan jail and, according to local folklore, subjected to 2 weeks of brutal interrogation in an attempt to unmask his comrades among the local United Irishmen. Staker refused to divulge a shred of incriminatory detail, except to provide one name in response to his captor's demands: Patrick Wallace. At some point in the following months, Staker must have been transported to Limerick jail, as his incarceration and sentencing there is recorded in contemporary journals. The accounts state Patrick Wallace was convicted on the most unequivocal testimony of raising a subscription to pay for the assassination of Charles S. Oliver, also with a deep plan of subverting the Constitution. He is to be hanged tomorrow at Kilfinnan, and his head is to be affixed on one of his own pikes and placed on the castle of Kilfinnan. July the 5th, 2023 thus marks the 225th anniversary of the execution of Staker Wallace. Tradition states that his head was spiked on the market house rather than the castle, until some weeks later it blew down in a gale and was secretly buried at his forefathers' resting place in Abbey Cemetery. His body may well have been interred in front of Kilfinnan jail. This was certainly true in the case of John O'Donnell and Timothy McMahon, executed in the town on November 17, 1800. They had been convicted of the murder in March that year of Roger Sheedy, the yeoman who pursued Staker Wallace through the Red Bog of Martinstown. The discovery of bones in October 2006 beneath the square in Kilfinnan is the prime reason for the production of this video, and the accompanying presentations taking place this July weekend across Kilfinnan. Now we have firm scientific evidence that the uncovered remains do indeed date from the late 18th century, and that beyond reasonable doubt they are a direct link with those turbulent times and the principal characters associated with the rebellion in this area. We cannot prove absolutely that the earthly relics of Staker Wallace are among them, but they certainly act as a stark representation of all that was mortal of the noble and courageous patriots of that era, chief of whom is the name which has passed down successively through the generations to the present day. A cherished name, cloaked in fame and renown, the name of Patrick Staker Wallace. The present composition of the Kilfinnan Cushlee Historical Society is far from alone in keeping the memory of Staker green. Our forebears erected a Celtic cross in his honour during the month of July 1955, not far from his home in Tiermore. The hurling club and band named after him have been previously alluded to, and in 1994 Mannix Joyce wrote the definitive account of his life and times. A major commemoration took place in the summer of 1998, his bicentenary year. In addition to the memorial, prominently situated at the square in Kilfinnan, and which has since become a focal point for the town's heritage, a number of descendants of the Staker participated in events dedicated to him, including at the site believed to mark the location of his actual homestead. Local pikemen took part in a marching parade through Dublin, and the following year staged a repeat performance in New York. All of these memorial endeavours, including, we hope, this video reenactment, have contributed to perpetuating a sense of the valour and fidelity of Patrick Staker Wallace, the heroic patriot who this week, 2¼ centuries ago, made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom of Cushlee and beyond.